we'll see how we'll do the Kristen thing. I feel like we should do it in front of the ark. Okay.
So if you're just coming in, Larry Katz is raising his hand. Larry is the last row for this evening. So if you want to be in the back, you can sit in Larry's row. You are, but you get the so come on close. Okay, Ben, if you're ready, we're ready. Ben, if you're ready, we're ready. Larry Katz is raising his hand. Larry, raise your hand. That's the last row. If you sit behind Larry, you're even behind the last row. You hear that? Okay. So thank you all for being here on Shabbat Shuva. We begin with a nigun. You get bonus mitzvah points for being here on Shabbat Shuva. Whether you're here in the sanctuary or if you're at home, we're so grateful that we're together at Temple Beth Am on this Shabbat. I'm Rabbi Ruth Slotnick, and could there be a better voice for this special Shabbat between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur than Torin Weber? Thank you for being my partner this evening. And to Sean and Emma and Andy for also not only bringing your beautiful music to our High Holy Days, but bringing it again. And we have Ben, who is a student and a lifetime member of Temple Beth Am, who is helping connect us to our friends at home. Because we know that there are some of you who have not been able to join us again since the COVID pandemic, and we're so grateful that you're with us. So I'm going to invite you all, and I was a very directive rabbi on the way in, so you should be able to see most of these folks. You're doing a mitzvah for the friends at home, because now they know that they're included. So can you turn, and we're going to actually move our bodies if we are able, and say Shabbat Shalom, and let's say Gamar Tov. Gamar Tov. So that's what you say between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. It means, may you be inscribed in the book of life. And what a great way to practice with the people in this room. I invite you, if you're comfortable enough to do so, to get up. You did a beautiful job making sure that the back row wasn't too far back. And now I'm going to invite you, because you're kind of in like segments, to like get up if you're able and say Shabbat Shalom, and you can say Gamar Tov, which means Really, Gemar Chatima Tova, may you be inscribed for a good year. So let's say Shabbat Shalom and Gemar Tov to some friends around us.
Double-sided and one-sided.
Oh my God, thank you, thank you. Oh, I already feel like the energy has changed in here. Thank you all for doing that. And so Shabbat Shuva is this really delicate moment in the Jewish year. It's so beautiful in some ways, because this is really that liminal moment when we're invited to be transformed for the new year. We're in these 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And I thought I'd share with you, a friend of mine posted, you know, it's nice to be part of the dorky Jewish social media world sometimes. And a friend of mine said, I thought this might be helpful on Shabbat Shuva, on this special Shabbat. And if any of you missed my sermon, don't worry, because this is really what my sermon was about in 30 seconds as opposed to 20 minutes. It's called Small Kindnesses. I've been thinking about the way when you walk down a crowded aisle, people pull in their legs to let you by, or how strangers still say bless you when someone sneezes, a leftover from the bubonic plague. Don't die, we're saying. And sometimes when you spill lemons from your grocery bag, someone else will help you pick them up. Mostly, we don't want to harm each other. We want to be handed our cup of coffee hot and to say thank you to the person handing it, to smile at them and for them to smile back. For the waitress to call us honey when she sets down the bowl of clam chowder, vegan clam chowder, and for the driver in the red pickup to let us pass. We have so little of each other now. So far from tribe and fire, only these brief moments of exchange. What if they are the true dwelling of the holy, these fleeting temples we make together when we say, here, have my seat, or you, go first, or even, I like your hat. And so this is a Shabbat Shuva where we want to cultivate that sense of kindness within ourselves. A Shabbat Shuva where we'll take a break from the heavy work in some ways and enjoy the blessings of our lives just as they are. But this is also a Shabbat Shuva that anticipates the year anniversary of the war that began on October 7th, 2023. I will be at Temple de Hirsch Sinai. Temple Beth Am is a co-sponsor, and we invite you to participate on Zoom or in person as part of our collective community remembrance. And so with that said, we're ready to light the lights of Shabbat. And I'd like to invite two people who are longtime members and also have a special simcha, which we'll talk more about in just a moment. And so Bill and Rebecca, Bill Cohn and Rebecca Ringer, if you'll come on up. And as we have since the first Shabbat after that, October 7th date. We'll light 3 lights of Shabbat, and we'll invite you to light them, and Taryn will lead us in the singing, and then you can do a reading after.
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
And so, it's an intense moment in the Jewish calendar, but it's a light-filled moment in the Jewish calendar. We're going to sing Or Zarua. I don't know what page it's on in the book, but I'm sure we can find out. And while we're figuring that out, so you can tell, some of the members of our professional team are taking a break today. Well deserved. It's been a little busy the last 2 days. And so while we're doing this, I am so grateful to Ben, but Ben, I'm feeling like maybe you could turn down my mic a little. Thank you. And thank you to Ben Gladstein, who wins bonus mitzvah points. Not only is he here on Shabbat Shuva, but he found the page. What page is it? 343. Yeah. Well, it is. It's actually in the book of Esther, but we'll talk about that in February. Or Zarua.
Or Zarua, la tzadik, hu yishrelev simcha. Or Zarua, la tzadik, hu yishrelev simcha. Or Zarua, la tzadik, hu yishrelev simcha. Hu yishrelev simcha. Or Zarua, la tzadik, hu yishrelev simcha. Hu yishrelev simcha. Yai rai 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 rai. Yai rai 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 rai. Yai rai 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 rai. Or Zarua, la tzadik, hu yishrelev simcha. Or Zarua, la tzadik, hu yishrelev simcha. Or Zarua, la tzadik, hu yishrelev simcha. Hu yishrelev simcha. Or Zarua, la tzadik, hu yishrelev simcha.
that sense of light surrounding us, we welcome the presence of Shabbat. L'chadodi's on page 20, and as we always do, we'll sing verses 1, 2, 5, which is a verse all about bringing light and waking up, exactly what we want to do on this Shabbat Shuva. We'll sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And in the 9th verse, if you so choose, we invite you to rise and welcome in Shabbat. L'chadodi.
L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad, Ishmi'anu el ha'am yuchad, Adonai echad, hu shemo echad, l'shemo tiferet v'li tehila. L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor ha'bracha, merosh meketem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava tehila. L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, kiva orech komi ori, uri shir daberi, kavod Adonai alayich nigla. L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam b'simcha u'etzola, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, l'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Please be seated. I feel that presence of Shabbat in my midst, and so not only have we brought in the blessings of Shabbat, but it is our moment to also welcome a new member of our people, of Am Yisrael, of the Jewish people. And, for those of you who have advanced degrees, you may be like me, and there's not a lot I remember from all of my schooling that I did after college, but a couple of like tidbits stay with me. And one of them is from Maimonides, the medieval philosopher, who suggested we were studying about gerim, people who choose to come from outside the Jewish people and to link their destiny with the Jewish people. And Maimonides said that if someone lives among the Jewish people for at least 12 years, they are, and the Hebrew is rusty, but I remember we translated it as they are basically common law Jews already. And I loved that, and that, I think one of the reasons why that is a piece of wisdom that has stayed with me, because it's definitely been true to my experience as a rabbi, that there are people who have not formally committed to being part of the Jewish people, but who contribute so much. And for many years, that was true of the person I'm about to invite up to this bima, so much so that she felt so connected and so much a part of this people that she signed up for the adult Bar Mitzvah class. And so I'm going to invite Kristen up because we had to sort of let Kristen Cohn know that before you can become Bat Mitzvah, it's probably good to formally connect with the Jewish people. So, and I am so thrilled to say that as one of our last acts of 5784, after years of study, years of service to the Jewish people, and then a really special project, you formally linked your destiny to the destiny of our people, and we are richer for it. So tonight we get to celebrate Kristen Cohn becoming part of the Jewish people formally. And I've asked Kristen to just share a little bit about, we have a special blessing to announce your Hebrew name, and if you'll just share a little bit about that.
Do you want me to do the sharing first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I think I told you otherwise.
It's okay. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I chose the Hebrew name Aviva Bat Avram Sarah because it means spring, which connects me to my daughters Naomi and Rose. Just like Rose, which blooms in spring, Naomi is a character from the Torah who appears in the book of Ruth, which we read every year at springtime during the holiday of Shavuot. The story of Naomi and Ruth also highlights themes of identity and belonging, loyalty and love, and the supportive relationships that can flourish within the Jewish community regardless of one's origin. These themes certainly resonate with me. I want to take a moment to thank you all for the warm and inclusive community here at Temple Beth Am. I've only officially been Jewish for a week, but I've been coming to TBA for years now, and I've always felt like I belonged here. For those of you who know me, you know how important community is to me, and being a part of the Jewish community is a big part of who I am. And in this community, I feel authentic in my service, in my identity, and in the relationships with others. So thank you all for welcoming me and being a part of my journey with me. So, Gemar Tov. Yes, I crossed out Shana Tova because I learned something just now.
My God. And like such a role model for all of us on what it means to be a Jewish learner. For those of you who may not know, Kristen is currently president of the board of directors of the Seattle Jewish Community School. So really thank you for uplifting our next generation as well. And so I say to you, my friend, Mishaberach Avotenu Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, Hu Yevarech et Achotenu Aviva, Bat Avraham va'Avinu, V'Sara Imenu. May God, who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless you, Aviva, Bat Avraham Avinu, V'Sara Imenu, who in search of your shelter of peace has come to participate in the destiny of Am Yisrael the people of Israel. May you be counted among the righteous Jews by choice who are devoted to the God of all of our ancestors. And may the Holy One of Blessing protect and deliver you from all trouble and distress, bringing blessing and success to all your worthy endeavors. And together, let us say, Amen. And I'd like to invite Naomi and Rose and Dylan to come forward. So now we can do a quick blessing for the family, and then maybe we'll celebrate as a community. So I'm going to invite you all to like sort of get under my tallis, and you guys can all help with this blessing. It's Ken Yehi Ratzon. So I'm going to say, Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ken Yehi Ratzon. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. So may God bless and keep you always. And may the light of God shine upon you and be gracious to you always. And may God be with you as you move forward as a fully Jewish family, not just Jew-ish, but Jewish. You know what I mean. And may God always grant you peace. And so I'm going to, and we don't always open the Ark for the Baruch Hu, but it seems like a particularly wonderful time. So I'm going to ask you guys to open it. But first, can we celebrate as a community?
Simmin tov, mazel tov, and simmin tov, mazel tov, and simmin tov, mazel tov, and simmin tov, yehelanu. Simmin tov, mazel tov, and simmin tov, and mazel tov, and simmin tov, and mazel tov, and simmin tov, yehelanu.
As the Cohn family opens the Ark, and we continue with Baruch Hu, page 28. I am very grateful to Rabbi Dana, who shared with me this beautiful reading from a great prayer book, Sha'ar Zahav, which is a beautiful reading for many occasions, but is particularly appropriate as the first blessing after the Baruch Hu, where we thank God for bringing on night. And if you look out, we're at this really strange in-between time, just like Shabbat Shuva. You know, it's not quite day, it's not quite night. So I share this reading that's not in our prayer books. It's called Twilight People. As the sun sinks and the colors of the day turn, we offer a blessing for the twilight. For twilight is neither day nor night, but in between. We are all twilight people. We can never be fully labeled or defined. We are many identities and loves. We are in between roles at the intersection of histories or between place and place. We are crisscrossed paths of memory and destination. May the sacred in-between of this evening suspend our certainties, soften our judgments, and widen our vision. May this in-between light illuminate our way to the God who transcends all categories and definitions. We cannot always define, but we can always say a blessing. Blessed are you, God of all, who brings on the twilight. And then we turn to page 32 for our next blessing before the Shema, Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, amachavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, b'shochmeinu uvkumeinu, nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, uv'mitzvotecha, le'olam va'ed. Ki hem hayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla. Ki hem hayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla. Ki hem hayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla. Ki hem hayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla. Ki hem hayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla. Ki hem hayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla. V'ahavtacha al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael.
It is said, in these 10 days we stand before God. I invite you to please rise as we sing of the oneness of which we are all a part, the oneness that links each soul one to the other. We rise in body or spirit to connect with that oneness. Shema is on page 34.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Baruch
please be seated as we continue to talk about the love that's engendered by that oneness. Ve'ahavta is on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך וכשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם באמת.
Please join me at the top of page 43. We're about to say the Hashkivenu prayer, our prayer that brings on the shelter of evening, and this seems appropriate on this first Shabbat of the new year. Please join me in the English at the top of page 43. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, hapares sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Hashivenu's on page 42.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom. Hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and shame. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom. Hamidenu shomreinu
Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel has taught that we are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. We rise now for the Amidah, the Tefillah, on this Shabbat Shuva. You'll notice that there are some special inclusions for Shabbat Shuva, because this is the time in which we are reminded that we are not in control of our own destiny. And so we thank God for holding our lives in God's hand.
Thank you for the heads up.
Adonai,
Page 46.
Sephatai tiftach, ufia gita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, Ume'evi ge'ula livnei v'neihem, leman shemo be'ahava. Zochreinu lechaim, melech hafetz b'chaim, v'chodveinu b'sefer ha'chaim, lemancha Elohim chaim. Melech oser u'moshia u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayei hakol atah rav lehoshia, morid hatal, mechalkel chayim v'chesed, mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Zomech noflim verofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, lishanei afar, michamocha ba'al gevurot, umido melach, Melech memit u'mechayeh u'matzmiach Yeshua michamocha avarachamim zocher yitzurav lechaim berachamim v'ne'eman atah halachayot hakol baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hakol atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh ukedoshim b'kol yom yahalalucha selah baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
We'll invite you to take the rest of the Amidah in silence, perhaps guided through page 62 or guided by the still small voice within.
תפילתם באהבה ותהי לרצון תמיד עבודת ישראל ישראל עמך הקרוב לכל קוראיו פנה אל עבדך וחננו שפוך ותחסנה עינינו בשובך לציון ברחמים ברוך המחזיר שכינתו
Do you feel like I do, like stick a fork in you, you're done? Oh my goodness. Thank you, Taran. Thank you to our beautiful musicians. I actually was so moved by what you sang. I'm going to ask if it's okay if we move Mishabera. I want to do my teaching,
Yeah.
which happens to come out of what you just sang so beautifully, because that setting, which was exquisitely presented to us by Taran, thank you, and by Emma, and by Sean, and by Andy, is the prayer at the top of page 56, which is actually, one of the hardest prayers to translate. Because this idea, Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu, find favor, this word Ritzei talks to us about God's will. And we live in 2024, and talking about God's will is like very alien. We can't really talk about it. We can understand it in song, which is why I'm so grateful to all of you. That was just beautiful. And I promise I'll get back to Ritzei. I promise I will. But I'm going to start I'm going to start somewhere else, which is just to say, some of you heard over Rosh Hashanah that for me, this year was a challenging year because it was a year when I wondered whether or not the Jewish people would emerge from it whole. And in the midst of my own struggle in this year, what I decided to do was to attend to my own questions and my own suffering, really, around the war that started, 10/7/23, was to go deeper into my Jewish learning. The beautiful thing about being a Jewish learner is you never end. There's always something new to learn, and it doesn't matter where you are on the spectrum of learning. Just keep learning because it just gets better and better. And for me, I took a couple of classes actually, on Musar. And if you don't know what Musar is, it's an approach to trying to understand how we develop. It's always called character development, but it's really soul development. We in Hebrew have many names for the soul. There's neshama, there's ruach, there's nefesh. That says something about who we are as a people. We understand that what makes us human, what makes us unique from other animals, is this thing that we say in English as the soul. And that what we can do is recognize that each one of us, this is what Musar teaches, each one of us has our own personal mission in this world. Like the one thing that only we can do to make the world a better place. Each one of us has that, but to get there, to fulfill that mission, we have to cultivate some things within, because we're all also just human. So really, what's asked of us in this particular approach is, can we awaken to our own divine nature, let's call that the soul, or are we too filled with destructive tendencies? We, as Jews, recognize that we are not too filled with destructive tendencies. We have this amazing system that allows us to help cultivate those characteristics that can help us make the world a better place. We call them mitzvot. In English, we sometimes translate them as sacred obligations, commandments. They're much more than a good deed. Please, if you're going to translate mitzvot, say it's a good deed, but more, okay? If that's how you translate it. So the mitzvot are these spiritual practices that aim to help us cultivate our souls. It's what one Hasidic master called advice on how to attain liberation. And what are we seeking on this Shabbat Shuva if it's not a sense of liberation? So in our modern vernacular, we would say that mitzvot is training in mindfulness, in creating our own awareness of the connection of all things. There's a very famous Jewish philosopher, very complicated, very dense to read. His name was Franz Rosenzweig, but he has an amazing story. Franz Rosenzweig lived at the beginning of the 20th century. He lived in Berlin, and he was all but ready to convert out of Judaism. He was all but ready to become a Christian because he was a modern man in the time. And he decided at the last minute to go to Kol Nidre services. It was probably a couple days before Kol Nidre, and he said, you know what? I'll just do this one last time. And nobody knows exactly what happened to him at those Kol Nidre services, but he had a conversion. He had a conversionary experience. He had a sense of turning, what we call Ba'al Teshuvah. He was able to return to Judaism. And he created what was a foundational text of Jewish philosophy in the 20th century. And when he was asked by an Orthodox rabbi who was suspicious of him and his little conversionary experience, if he laid tefillin, if you don't know what tefillin is, it's the phylacteries that Orthodox Jews lay early in the morning, and he said, not yet. What he was saying by that is that we have the system of mitzvot, of these sacred obligations that can help us live more meaningful lives. And we don't have to do all of them, you know? A lot of us are far outside the Orthodox world that lives them all. But if we keep it as an evolving relationship between us and these obligations that our ancestors handed down to us, then we may live with a sense of true meaning. And it said that Shuva is the highest mitzvah of all. So on this Shabbat Shuva, I invite you to engage in the sacred obligation of contemplating how will you use these few precious days till we make it to the Kol Nidre service. What needs to be repaired and what will you do about it? Who do you need to forgive and will you forgive them? Who do you need to ask forgiveness from and will you seek it? And so here we go. This is how it connects to that beautiful song that Taryn just sang. As I mentioned on Rosh Hashanah, I am grateful to 5784 for teaching me really what it means to be a person of faith. There were days in the last year when I followed the mitzvot, not because I wanted to, but because I felt an obligation to. I wasn't ready yet to turn my back on Judaism and the Jewish people. And the mitzvot, those sacred obligations, brought me back to Judaism and the Jewish people. And this is where Taryn's beautiful song comes in. There's a teaching from the 16th century. It's a little complicated, but I hope you'll go with me on it. How many of you have heard the Yiddish term sorus? Sorus means suffering. It means hardship. It's from the Hebrew word sarah. And it is anything that makes us suffer. It could be physical pain. It could be fear, anxiety, anger, jealousy. But it's the root, sadi resh hey, if you just turn them around, is retzeh, ratzah. It is God's acceptance and love of us. So my prayer for us on the Shabbat Shuva is that we're like Franz Rosenzweig. Maybe we don't do as many mitzvot as we might do. Not yet. But I want to share one last image, which was when I was in the midst of this very intensive Musar class, I saw a sign, and this is what the sign said. Fear is what if. Faith is even if. Surus, suffering, fear, is what if? But retzeh, ratzah, faith, is even if this happens, we'll be okay because we'll be together. May you repair and heal and renew in the days ahead so you can approach 5785 with faith and not with fear. Kenya Hiratzon. And with that, I would say it's a good time to do a Misha Beirach, because this is our prayer that we say to offer healing. And who among us doesn't need some kind of healing after this year that we've just experienced? But maybe there's someone you're thinking about personally, so I'll invite you to share their name out loud. for all those that we've named out loud and anyone we hold in our hearts. We sing, which Mishaberach? 253.
May the Holy One in mercy give them strength. May the Holy One grant healing to them soon, body and soul. Misha Berach Avoteinu. Misha Berach Himoteinu Hu Yevarech Virapei HaCholim V'Nomar
From prayers of healing to prayers of memory, I share these words from Yehuda Amichai. Patuach Sagur Patuach. Lifnei Sha'adam Nolad Hakol Patuach. Bayachum La'adav. Open, closed, open. Before we are born, everything is open in the universe without us. For as long as we live, everything is closed within us. And when we die, everything is open again. Open, closed, open. That's all we are. This week we remember these loved ones: Bernice Zeichner, mother of Ken, Sally, and Pete, grandmother of Noah, Aaron, and Jordan, grandmother-in-law of Tarin, and great-grandmother to Alana, Ezra, Margot, and Mo. Chuck Savage, husband of Carly, father of Tina, Casey, Stephanie, Kelly, Allison, and Dylan, grandfather of Owen and Will. Harry Rodhe, grandfather of Jennifer Koch, great-grandfather to Simon and Asher. Jacob Poland, grandson of Sis Poland. Chuck Glatstein, husband of Mindy, father of Ben, Jeremy, and Gabe, grandfather of 7, including Leo, Sam, and Jonah, and father-in-law of Teresa. Elaine Leviton, wife of Kevin McCarthy, mother of Alicia and David Leviton. Rhoda Oakes, mother of David of blessed memory. Julie, and mother-in-law of Jim of blessed memory. Julie Black and Jim. Larry and Jonathan, grandmother of Michael, Elizabeth, and Aaron, and great-grandmother to Bridget. And Malcolm Garber, parent of Michelle, Steve, Amy, Mark, and Stephanie, grandparent of Angie, Christina, Jeffrey, and Josh. We're also remembering these loved ones whose yahrzeit falls at this time. Ben and Greg Bond, Harriet Broadwin, Chaya Burstein, Harold Davis, Irving Epstein, Sylvia Erber, Alexander Pfeffer, Allison Ferris, Lawrence Fox, Egon Frankel, Beverly Gassner, David Goldman, Roy Golub, Lewis Gordon, Nancy Green, Richard Herthenrother, Ursula Jensen, Minna Katz, Frida Kearns, Jane Cowles, Ursula Krafchick, David Lazarus, Gladys Levine, Arthur London, Stanley Liss, Nancy Meltzer, Edwin Meyerhoff, Samuel Resnikoff, Richard Richmond, Ruth Ringer, Lawrence Rogavoy, Fred Sanders, Leatrice Schacht, Hope Shapiro, Beverly Shore, Alice Sinsheimer, Frank Stedman, Maurice Taylor, Mary Tischler, Albert Barron, Florence Warnick, and Marvin Zach. I invite you to share out loud the name of anyone who you're thinking of. If I mispronounced a name, please say the name out loud. And if you choose to, please let us know their relationship to you. If you've lost a loved one in the last week, or the last month, or the last year, we invite you to please rise and remain standing. If you've lost a loved one and are commemorating a yard site, we invite you to please rise and remain standing. And then, as one community, if you choose to, we invite you to rise in body or spirit to stand in solidarity with the mourners among us as we continue with Kaddish Yatom. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 294. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach urte v'amlik malkute, v'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dekol Beit Yisrael, v'agala ubizman kari v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei olmaya, V'yit barak, v'yish tabak, v'yit ta'ar, v'yit ramam, v'yit naseh, v'yit hadar, v'yit talev, v'yit talal, shemei dekudusha brechu, le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, damiran v'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru, amen. Please be seated. I'm going to borrow your mic. I think it's still on. Yes, it is. And I'm actually, for some reason, I don't exactly know why, I'm going to start here. But each Shabbat, you know, one of the things we've done during this very difficult year is every Shabbat we have an opportunity to share joy with the realization that when we share our joy, it gets expanded. And how much do we need to expand joy? So I'm wondering if there's anyone in this sort of, because we're like clans today, in this clan who wants to share anything joyous you may be feeling today. Come on, Cones, don't let me down. All right, we need a ringer here. What's your name, please?
Rebecca Ringer, and I just wanted to welcome Kristen, not just into the greater family, but into ours as a Jewish member now. You've been part of the family for a very long time, but welcome to this part.
Rose, I think you're being voluntold. Do you have anything to say? What's your name?
Rose Cohen, and it's good having a mom be Jewish so that all four of us, even our dog, are all Jewish.
Perfect, Rose. That was perfect. I won't put anyone else on the hot seat unless you want to be, but I'm wondering if there are any other. We really do say to the whole Cone tribe, we know that you have two, not one, but two Benot Mitzvah coming up this year. And so we are, we're really, thank you, Naomi, for helping your mom
get to bat mitzvah. Kristen has the best tutor at home. And so we say mazel tov to all of you. Any other simchas, any other joys to share, you know? Oh, I'm hoping. Thank you. And if you'll just share your name.
My name is Lynn, and me and the artist I work with have finished storyboarding the first chapter of my next comic book.
Your next what?
Comic book.
Oh my God, that's so awesome. That's like serious joy, because it's not just like an accomplishment, but it's a comic book. So that's like joy personified, I think, or whatever the right word is. It's been a long few days for me. Anyone else?
I'm Shelley. I use she, her pronouns. And since you mentioned both music and learning in your devar, I will say I had an incredible moment of joy walking in here yesterday morning and having the service start with Nigun Tishrei, which is the Nigun that when I first started studying with Svara, they used that. And that was my doorway into really serious Jewish learning. And so it was just like worlds colliding and
beautiful.
a lovely moment.
Wonderful. Shelley Cohn, past president and queer fairy godmother. And so, any other, yes, wonderful. And I can't remember your name. What's your name?
My name is Ruth.
Oh.
And I'm being prodded here by my husband, Greg. You said something tonight that just made us go, oh my gosh, because a few weeks ago, our daughter Charlotte told us all about the what if and exchanging that for even if. And so hearing that as part of your devar was just really meaningful to us.
Thank you, thank you. I saw that sign when I needed to see it, and it is now, you'll probably be hearing it again about it on Yom Kippur, just saying. Well, those are beautiful. Anyone else? Did I see a couple of hands? Yeah, we don't want to hold back on joy. Just share your name, please.
Hi, my name is Grace, and I just finished the second week of my second to last quarter as an undergrad. So.
Whoa, mazel tov. You remember everything from undergrad. It's just grad school you don't remember. Yeah. Wonderful. Anyone else? I don't want to. There's one more. Okay. I'm going to say this is the last one because we're going to do a closing song, and then we'll have some challah out there, and then we can share other simchas after. Please share your name.
Hi, Samantha. Joy for me, and I think all of us in this row right here, is that we have family up here from California, and it's just really special to have them here with us. So
wonderful.
It's really, really special and joyful.
I'm so glad you guys are here, and so we're so glad that you've decided to like all be here. You could have made lots of other choices. How wonderful, wonderful. So I think we'll do the closing song and then the blessings, if that's okay. And I'm just going to give you this back. And appropriately enough, our hope is that in the year to come there will be peace. And so we're singing Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. I don't know if it's in our book, but you'll get it.
I think it is.
As we go.
Ben will find it.
All right. Which Ben's going to get the mitzvah points? Is it going to be Ben Mishkin, Ben Gladstein? No competition, though. It's Shabbat Shuva. Oh, Ben. What page? 353.
Ojivo Shalom Aleinu, Ojivo Shalom Aleinu, Ojivo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Ojivo Shalom Aleinu, Ojivo Shalom Aleinu, Ojivo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam Shalom, Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam, Salam Shalom. Ojivo Shalom Aleinu, Ojivo Shalom Aleinu, Ojivo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Hojivo Shalom Aleinu, Hojivo Shalom Aleinu, Hojivo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam Shalom. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam Shalom. Hojivo Shalom Aleinu, Hojivo Shalom Aleinu, Hojivo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Hojivo Shalom Aleinu, Hojivo Shalom Aleinu, Hojivo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam.
And we'll sanctify this Shabbat. The Shabbat Kiddush is on page 5. You can look online if you'd like.
That's right.
You got it.
All right. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinkilanu. Zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yom tehila lemikra kodesh, zecher etziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat lechaim.
Thank you to Taran. Thank you to Emma and Andy and Sean. Thank you to Ben. Thank you to Stephen and Leah. We can show our thanks to them by bringing our prayer books back to the carts out there. If you see Alberto and Jose, give them a big, big thank you. It's been a long few days. We're going to invite you to do this, and it may mean actually coming from the hinterlands, but let's be interconnected in our blessings tonight, especially on this Shabbat Shuva. And so if you prefer elbow to elbow, if you prefer just a nice closeness, but let's feel interconnected as we say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avo. It's a round challah. It has raisins. It's controversial, but I hope you enjoy it. What's that? You'll pass?
I think it's the best.
Oh.
I love it's controversial.